Hyper-aggressive reverse grip. Fact or fiction?
The Great Reverse Grip Experiment, week 4. This week we are testing to see if reverse grip is a hyper-aggressive style. So we hear a lot of things about reverse grip, and one of those is that reverse grip only works if you're super aggressive. If I'm constantly closing distance, if I'm getting in close, getting into grappling range, if I'm able to dodge quickly around my opponent's attacks, things like that. So we're going to be testing that today. So to set a baseline, Matt, of the fencers that you've fenced, how would you rank me on speed?
Near the top.
Okay, so you, in your opinion, I'm a fast fencer.
Yes, you are a very athletic, fast person.
I know I'm not the fastest or strongest in the world. I'm not claiming that, but I'd say that I'm on the higher side of athleticism and speed. So if we're testing to see if this is a viable technique, it would not be a viable technique if only the best person in the world could use it. It has to be something that's useful for more than one person. So as someone who is a quicker and more nimble fencer, I should be able to get this right if this is the way it works. So let's find out. So to test this, like always, we're going to be fully geared up and actually hitting each other, really trying to get each other. We're going to be testing this a couple of different ways. We're going to be testing this where we both have short weapons, one in reverse and one in forward. We're going to be testing this where we both have long weapons, and we're going to be testing this with a mix, so one person with short and one person with long. And we're going to see if any of these combinations yield a positive result for reverse grip being hyper offensive. Let's go. Okay, we're starting with short sword versus short sword. Oh no, right in the head. Okay. You got my hand. I think it was flat.
No,
You had
talk
wrist
later.
and head.
Yeah. Arm, right? That one did get my hand.
And hit your hand like this, where there's no blade. Maybe a little bit.
Might have.
Might have. Yeah.
Like, really come in.
Okay. You just waited and hit me in the face.
I mean, sorry about
You
that.
got me real good.
You okay?
Did I get you?
I don't think so.
Oh, you got me real good. Okay, he put his hand out, and I did get his off hand. Didn't do anything to
I
stop
don't
it.
know why I did it. I'm just trying things, you know.
Yeah. Did you get that?
No. That time you did get my wrist.
Yeah, but you got my hand and my arm on the way in. Did I get that?
No. It's the weapon.
This is really exhausting. This is not a good way to fight. I got that block, but couldn't do anything. Didn't get that. Was it hard? Hand on the way in. So my thought there was to sacrifice my hand to get any block from that.
Yeah.
You blew through this and got my neck.
Really?
Yeah, so you went to, I went here, he blew through this, cut my neck. I wouldn't have made that. I grabbed it, that would have cut my hand to the bone,
Might have cut through.
and I still missed.
Yeah.
And, yeah, coiled back.
Yeah.
And my thought was to come in and stop it. It
Well,
took
the thing
almost
is-
no time for him to hit me. Let's do reverse forward. Ready?
Yeah.
Thanks. Did give me a tip a little bit. I'm also very tired from that. I got my arms. Head.
I'm not as fast as him.
I should have gotten hit there because I totally missed.
Oh.
I totally missed. You swung at my face and you couldn't get it. I didn't even move. You might have gotten me there. Whatever you did when you hit me.
I felt the way that felt on my mask. You would have like cut 3 inches into my skull.
Did I get me on this one?
Maybe.
sure. You might have, the tip brushed me here, but I could barely feel it. And every other thrust we've had with these things, it's stiff and it hurts. So you might have touched me. I'm not sure how well it would have done, but we'll go ahead and make that a double. And maybe? No?
Maybe.
I think it did. Oh, the back.
Maybe.
It would have stung, but there's no blade there.
You still have a sharp edge?
Switch it around to the back edge is,
This?
yeah, like that. You're not gonna cut it anyway.
That's true.
Yeah. You might have stabbed me. Do you think you could have cut me without going on?
Well, what he just did would have really hurt.
I don't. He might have been able to pull off that cut, but it wasn't good for sustained.
What I was maybe trying to do was like, it passed and then stabbed.
Yeah, but you were totally open.
Yeah, I know.
Right. You got your hand twice on the way in.
Well, and I think people might also have this idea that you can like, if you're so fast, you can slip past someone's guard. He knows how to retreat. People who fight know how to move and retreat quickly.
Yeah.
He's gonna do that if he sees me trying to go like this. He'll either just hit my hand, or he'll back up or step. I mean, it's not.
I'm honestly really tired from my turn at doing this, so I'm being a little.
But it doesn't even take any energy.
I'm barely working right now.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of points I'll give you that you got.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have got if I was trying a little bit harder because I'm tired from
I'm
trying to
getting
do
tired
it.
too.
All right, a couple more.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah, and that's the reverse now. So
Yeah, I know.
now, as a control, let's do forward, and I'm going to be aggressive with forward, and see if it's any better. Now we'll be focused on being a balanced fencer, and now we'll be focused on being aggressive. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can block that. That's mine.
Yeah, I kind of, for some reason, I missed the cut.
What I stopped?
I don't think so.
I closed distance. Do you think your sword or your fist?
It was like the very base of it.
That wouldn't have done much, honestly. Being aggressive is honestly really exhausting.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a very sustainable fighting style.
No.
Yeah, you put my thumb on there. I got him. I don't know if there was a stop to cut though.
Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't make that press. I'll be balanced fencer. Matt's gonna be aggressive. Very good cut. Rest all the way in. Yeah. Stopped you?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Where'd you hit me?
The hand. There's a brush.
I didn't feel it.
Okay. So with reverse grip being aggressive, I was so open because I didn't have any range or any reach, and I was tired. First off, with a balanced fencer, someone who has even got the slightest amount of training, they're not just gonna let you rush in on them. They're gonna retreat. They're gonna gain distance, and when they gain distance, you lose time.
Or they might just stick their point out.
So when I was aggressive, all the same problems were at play. My hand was exposed, my wrist was exposed. I might have gotten 1 or 2 touches, but it's about the same as it was before. When Matt switched over, honestly, after fencing like that, I was tired. When I went to be the balanced fencer and forward grip, I was phoning it in. There was a couple of touches you got in reverse grip that you would never have gotten if I wasn't so tired from being aggressive. When we switched over to being forward grip and offensive, or very aggressive, I felt so exposed. There was a couple times I did get touches, but overall, I was so open. It was weird. I would never trade a balanced offensive and defensive fencing to go for some hyper aggressive style. When Matt did it, how did you feel when you were being aggressive?
I felt like I was wasting energy and being reckless.
Being reckless, wasting energy.
And there might be people who are thinking that if you just train to be more aggressive, it would work itself out. But the thing is, training to be that aggressive would be silly if your life depended on it, because
Yeah, the first time you go into battle.
I would, if I were going to be really aggressive, I can say that I would obviously prefer it with the weapon in front of me.
In front of me.
And there are certain motions in both sport and historical fencing that are aggressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes there are little aggressive things you do to get the motion started, to get action going.
Yeah.
Like if we're both standing here like this, I might see what he does if I touch his blade, or see what he does if I go for a cut. But I'm just testing. You know?
All combat is a balance between defending yourself and attacking. And you don't win unless you are aggressive. You will never win by defending. You must attack in order to win. However, if you completely eschew your defense to be hyper-aggressive or whatever, some sort of... I think this idea of the hyper-aggressive fighting style comes from video games and role-playing games and fantasy, where you want to tell a narrative.
You have
about
like a rogue character.
Well, yeah, you have a character. You're trying to describe a character in a video game or a movie or something.
Little guy with daggers.
Yeah, but when it comes to real combat, it doesn't happen. Or if it does happen, that person doesn't last long. You could look at something like the Viking berserkers. They would, supposedly they would get naked, get high on mushrooms, and get really mad. And they might take quite a few people with them. There's a scare factor involved in that. But those guys were not expected to come back. When they volunteered for those missions, that was like the end.
So there was a thing later in history from Landsknechts.
Landsknechts, yeah.
Landsknechts that were these, I believe, mostly Swiss guys.
Swiss and German,
yeah. That would wear sort of light armor, some chest protection, big sword, double pay for a reason.
Yeah.
And they would go in and just sort of try and get things started because a lot of times people would have formations that were just impenetrable. You have to start with something. So.
Yeah, and there's the same thing with Forlorn Hope and the British guys in full armor with big swords. It's a thing, but when we're talking about combat, what we're teaching here, unarmored combat, we're not talking about battlefield tactics right now. We're not talking about there's archers behind you, everything else. We're talking about fighting out a person. First off, reverse grip did not help in an aggressive style, but aggressive style did not help. Now, we're going to test this with some more weapons to see if it's different when we start with something else, but this is not a good start to this experiment. I'm already tired. Okay, we took a quick break because we're really tired, because this is really hard, but here we go. We're going to do the short sword in reverse grip versus a longer weapon. The idea here being that if we have a long weapon and I'm being really aggressive, I'll get up into his business, I'll be able to block him here, and then he's all tangled up and can't do anything, or he'll take a swing at me and I can dodge and come in and kill him. Right? So for this, we're going to pick the longsword, mostly because of its length. So take a look at the difference here. The longsword is considerably longer than the katana is. And this test to us is really a demonstration of length. So this is long, this is short. I can get inside his guard, he won't have any options, and I will be able to kill him. That's the test we're doing here. So here we go. Here we go. Friends. Totally dead. You actually got me on the stab on the way in, though.
All right.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. Okay.
Really closing. I know it's intimidating.
I was already cut to ribbons. I sacrificed my arm and I touched his hand. I don't think it had any power.
I didn't even feel anything.
Okay.
You okay?
That's fine. Try something silly. This is so intimidating.
This is just such a good weapon.
None of us got anything. Yeah, he would have taken my arm off. He got you a little bit.
He did get me a little bit.
A little bit.
What did you do?
I did this, and then I kind of did this.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad. I didn't get anything. I tried to go for a stab.
So if you ever see him going past me and you see me kind of just doing a light thing, it's because I don't want to.
I have no padding in the back of this jacket.
I just want him to know that I can get it.
So what happened here is I came in like this to guard myself, and I tried for the stab. He turned. I moved. Yeah, he blew through that. I came in like this, and I felt multiple hits with the sword all over my body. They weren't hard, but they would have cut. They wouldn't have been debilitating, but it wasn't very good. and I went to try and point this at him. Did I get you with the tip?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think you did. Alright.
I'm getting desperate. I had no power. All right, let's switch.
Okay. So I mean, technically, if that's not in motion, I could get away
You
with
could.
it.
You can slap it away. That was your hand.
Right through.
Right through your hand. You touched my hand, actually. Yeah.
I kinda
You
stabbed
did.
your
You
hand.
kind of stabbed my hand.
But any kind of ideas I get about trying to like
Okay.
charge in or...
Yeah. I think people think that you can just like hook the sword.
I'm sorry, but when someone's standing there with a sword in your face,
It's a lot.
it's not very inviting to try and go. Like, let me do what's happening in my head, right? Or
In his head.
Or other people's heads. In my head, I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Try it.
Okay. I just got run through.
Okay, I will handicap myself, and I will not do any deception work with this. I'm not allowed to deceive your thrusts. I did not deceive, I just thrust.
Right.
That was really easy for me to counter. You can run around a little bit, but not.
But I traded. I was completely unprotected.
Yeah.
Actually, very fast.
You're very nice. I gave you, obviously on that last one, I gave you the best case scenario. I kind of let you tangle that up. You did manage to touch me here. It wasn't very powerful. And at the same time, I managed to gut you. So now we are going to test forward grip, very aggressive against short sword as a control to see if the reverse grip was better or worse or whatever.
We'll get you balanced.
Yeah, you're a balanced fencer, I'm a aggressive fencer first. Fence. Where's mine?
Grab my hand.
My hand.
Yeah, maybe my forearm.
You came in and you might have put the hand on that. I don't know. But I made contact with the fork. So you didn't hit it, it would have hurt. But I think it was like right across the Yeah. Double. You didn't hit me with that one.
No, I didn't, but I also.
You didn't get it.
I don't think you got me.
I did. They were both flat attacks.
Right.
I think that was a double, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Double. Yeah, it is. Okay. Balance versus you being balanced. Balance.
Measured.
Measured fencing.
Cautious.
Yeah, me. I was able to get in there and grab
Yeah,
it.
you grabbed the fork in too.
I could not manage that with reverse grip. Yeah.
We're at an impasse. At that point, really bad stuff would start happening.
So what happened there? The same thing with the reverse grip. When I had this in reverse grip, can you attack me? I was able to do this, but look where my arm is. It's pinned. When I did it this way, now look where I am. I can get through there a lot easier. I did grab a sword. That would have hurt. I'm able to do these grappling moves not when I'm being aggressive. I'm waiting and listening.
Now that I was pulling.
I would have definitely been hurt. Yeah. We're gonna switch.
Tired.
You're gonna be aggressive.
Okay.
That was the neck. And your hand. I got you too. thought I got your hand on that, didn't I?
Maybe.
Okay, you got me now. I wouldn't stop that. Ooh, you okay?
Yeah.
I tried to let go of that. Okay, let's talk about it. So, reverse grip as an aggressive style against a longer sword, the idea of tangling it up, it just didn't manifest.
They don't tangle up.
There was no leverage, there's no way to beat it to the side. In a forward bladed attack, I can lead with the tip. The tip is leading. This is out there and I have reach, I have range. So if Matt's got this and he's thrusting at me, I can lead like that. And it's pretty easy to do. But with this, I can't lead with this anymore. I have to come all the way up here to do that. And as I do it, I'm very exposed. I can lead with the hand like this, but look how much slower
But
this is.
I have to be very agreeable.
Well, if he's thrusting at me, this versus this. This is faster, it's accelerating, the tip is accelerating based on my movement. This is my whole arm. And as I tried to come in over and over again, I found that as I tried to open this up, he could easily get in there. The couple of times I did manage to do something, I basically reinforced this and came in like here, but then I was stuck. I didn't have anything I could do because now look at my blade, it's stuck behind his.
There's also a huge risk of
I can't go here.
my blade hitting you anyway.
Yeah. So reverse grip did not work for me. What about for you?
No.
You find anything from it?
No.
No, nothing?
I mean, I like you said, my hand is exposed. If I want to protect my hand, I have to do this, which means I am. It just doesn't feel good.
Did you find that it lent anything to rushing in? Did that
No. I would, if I were gonna rush in, I would rush in like this.
So let's move on to the forward grip version. We did aggressive style of forward grip. Personally, I found this left me very exposed. When I was trying to augment one side of the offense-defense equation, I found that I was getting rid of my defense in favor of trying to get these hits and trying to be fast, and almost always that led to me just getting whacked immediately. I would rush in, I would close distance, and I wasn't able to deal with this in time. And I did get more touches with this in forward grip than I did aggressive in this with reverse grip. I did not, however, get as many touches as I did when I started the fence with this balance. When I fenced with like a balanced fencer, I was able to do a lot more. I would listen and wait, and quite a few times I was able to scoop this and get in. I also managed a couple of times to be able to block an attack and grab the blade. And then I actually did fine. If you wait and you listen and you do that, it's a very viable tactic and it puts you in an advantage. Not an advantage over the longsword, but once you close distance and you grapple that sword, now I have one hand free, and I found that he was at a marked disadvantage. If I could manage to tangle the sword up, now he was at a disadvantage.
Right, and if I had maybe been a little bit more prepared for it, I could have gotten us at least to a more equal footing by going do it again.
Yeah, he could have done that.
And now we're
exactly.
fighting.
So there's of course a counter to that, of course. But I found that.
But it's good if you have a short single-handed weapon.
It was, but it didn't work. It did not work with reverse grip because look at the difference here. From here, this action is good and makes sense, and now I have this to go from. This action, I can maybe swing here, but there's no power. And then I've got to come all the way around here, or I was very tangled up. But with this, I could immediately swing it back down into him here or under there, and I had a reach. I didn't have to be that close with thrust. A lot more options. Not the perfect solution, but it was effective.
Sure.
And while I was being a balanced fencer. What about you? How did you feel with this in forward grip being aggressive?
I generally don't like being overly aggressive because you open yourself up, because being aggressive basically to me means closing distance quickly.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dangerous because once you start closing distance, they kind of know you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they're either going to back up or respond. In reverse grip, closing distance felt suicidal.
Yeah.
Because what am I going to do? Even if he swings at me and I go like this, I might get hit in the hand, the arm. Or I'll get the parry, and now I'm like this, and I would have to like, I don't know what. But in forward grip, being aggressive, I still didn't really like the way it felt, but it felt safer.
Safer, yeah.
Yeah, because I could go in with the weapon in front of me.
How about when you switch to being a balance fencer?
I mean, that felt the best.
Best, yeah. Were you still feeling like you were at a disadvantage with the longsword? When I had the longsword and you had the short sword, did you feel like it was a disadvantage?
Yeah. Just longer.
Yeah, it's longer.
And it's not like in a game or something where this
is slower.
Is way slower.
It's not.
Technically, it might be in some ways.
In some ways, but on the thrust.
But if you have an extra hand on the grip,
yeah,
it's fast.
Yeah, and additionally, the thrust. It was continually. This is scary. It might not seem it to you, the camera, but knowing that this kills you, I have to get this out of the way. And there's all sorts of things he can do to move it.
And if he does manage to deflect it, I can do stuff like, and you close in fast, I can kind of just keep it against
you. But now think about this, right? He's got that at me here. I have to take care of this at this range. Now I have to take care of this at this range, and if you can't tell, this is so close to me. Yeah. So like, it's a matter of distances. I want to deal with the threat before it can, if you extend fully from there without advancing. He still can't hit me, and I can deal with this, right? So I know that right here, he has to take a step to hurt me. Extend all the, He doesn't even have to take a step, and he can hurt me. That's
I'm being nice.
That's the worst part about reverse grip is the range. Knowing that your opponent, if you are in range to block or attack, your opponent could just extend their arm and you're getting stabbed. That's a huge disadvantage. Okay, so far not so good, but let's see. Last thing we're gonna do is reverse grip Katana versus reverse grip Katana and Longsword. I don't know, we're gonna switch it out. Okay. So we will see. Okay, we are going to test reverse grip Katana against forward grip Katana, and I'm going to be aggressive, and Matt is going to be a balanced fencer.
No.
That was really good on my wrist. That was good, yeah. Then that was face, wrist, and everything else.
Yeah.
No. Got my face. I'm trying to be really aggressive in the range, just isn't there.
No, there's no range.
Yeah.
I just have to step back a little bit.
I feel really silly. I am trying moves that look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get range, I'm trying to be fast. Alright, switch. Yeah, your turn.
I'm fast. I'm fast. You are slow. So slow. I guess you're not that slow.
That was a very good hit.
Yeah.
I'm just hitting his hand every time. I got your hand the first thing. I got hand, and then I wanted to get an extra one, so I got head. Alright, let's switch. So I'll go back to reverse, you grab a longsword.
Alright.
Maybe it works against a longsword.
Yeah, well.
Alright, I'm going to be aggressive in a forward stance.
Speed.
Nah, he probably got me on that first strike.
Yeah.
I think I got your hand on the first strike. I'll be honest, the times I've gotten him, I've actually kind of defaulted into being a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
It is hard for me to be aggressive because I have so many years of self-preservation training.
There's a reason for that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's switch to be aggressive forward grip.
Okay.
I think I got my hand. What have I stopped to?
I don't think so.
Okay, now grab me, ready? Yeah, you got me, yeah.
Well, I'm being intelligent here.
Yeah, it's hard to be.
What I'm doing, what I did those 2 times is, rather than be aggressive and just go,
Ah! So he hit the sword, it was the beat.
I was aggressive in the sense that I just was being unrelenting.
Got your hands.
Yeah.
You miss and hit him away.
Yeah.
Alright, last test. Longsword. Okay, so I'm going to use a katana in an aggressive manner in reverse grip against the longsword to see if I can make it work. I got nothing. I was dead. That was in my brain. Now you got my hands. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I sacrificed my arm.
Yeah, you grabbed into the...
No, I didn't grab. I just blocked.
Well, but I was cutting.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
It might have gone through.
I might have cut my whole hand off. That was a powerful cut. So basically the way I got that, I was like, I'm going to sacrifice this whole hand to get hit. I could have done that without sacrificing my hand in forward grip.
Yep.
Honestly, you probably got me before that.
Maybe.
So I made this parry. I had to reinforce it to make it powerful enough. I tried to attack him. I couldn't get my sword out. It was too long.
Might as well just hit me
I
with
should
the
have
grip.
just done this. Yeah, ready? One more. You blocked it and hit me at the same time.
That's the idea. By the way, that's really like a nice thing you can do with a forward weapon is
You can attack.
can close the line and attack.
Yeah. Reverse grip.
Okay.
Well, it's not with that.
Oh,
With the katana. Fence. I got okay. So this was unintentional. I think I clipped you.
Maybe.
But then he just continued to attack, and his hand got caught in the crossguard.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
I don't know how I managed that. It's a fluke.
Yeah. Double.
It's the being aggressive
Not
part.
not double as in both got hit.
The
Double
being
as I hit
aggressive
twice.
part is what makes it so hard.
I know exactly where to aim every time. You clip me.
Yeah, but I mean, you
And
could
pin.
have stabbed me at any moment.
Yeah. You got me the backside.
Yeah.
Would hurt a lot. You.
If I had had a shorter weapon, I might have stabbed you.
Yeah, you did.
But I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the noise was more of a, oh, come on. Because the first part of that went how I wanted
It did.
My idea was I knew you were probably going to cut down, so my idea was to just kind of go like this.
Yeah.
But I had no reach. It just,
Aggressive katana versus normal longsword. I got you, but I got stabbed in the leg. I think you might even got my hand on the way in.
I think I do.
Yeah. And he blew through that and got my head. I'm closing distance so fast I can't form a good parry. Yeah, it's yours. That was mine on your hand, but it would not have stopped. His cut was already.
I think I just cut the top of your head off.
Yeah.
Or partway.
The length on that's a lot.
Yeah.
All
right.
Okay. Aggressive forward.
Okay.
You might have got my hand a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Was that aggressive though?
Not really.
Yeah, really.
I mean, to me, aggressive is like I need to be closing distance and trying something in the first half second or second. of
So two
fighting.
more aggressive than yours as not aggressive. You got my leg, but not much.
Just fighting where I was aiming
Yeah.
your sword, not the camera.
All right, balance. having to change up my tactics. I'm having to be tricky. I got caught up
on something.
I got caught in your thumb.
It was either on the thumb or the
thumb. I saw it bend.
Okay.
You hit me. I'm not sure. I took a lot out of it, but I still probably would have done something. I was flat at the end there. Did I get a thrust?
I don't think so.
Okay. Double. Alright. Okay, so final conclusions for this regarding reverse grip specifically as an aggressive weapon. I did not find any level of success being aggressive with a reverse grip. You know, first off, reverse grip itself didn't seem to help the motions of it. It definitely wasn't aided by reverse grip. Being aggressive was not aided by reverse grip.
And reverse grip was not aided by being aggressive.
No. So in either case, it was not helped by reverse grip. So what I found is anytime I tried to close distance, immediately I was at a disadvantage because he could hit me and I couldn't hit him. All of the blocking that I normally do was slowed down because I had to move my whole arm. I couldn't flip it up and do anything like this because you'd blow right through it. Once I got into distance to do something, even if I managed to parry or something like this, I had to draw it out unnaturally and try and strike. Half the time I was hit before I even got in. A couple of occasions where I did get in, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of options.
Broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah, and I did score a couple of hits, but again, a broken clock, right, twice a day. Flukes happen sometimes, and that seems like what those were. Normally the hits that I scored, they weren't intentional, they were like something happened in the mix of things. What about you? How'd you feel about reverse grip and being aggressive?
Not good.
Not good.
I didn't like it. I didn't feel like it's possible to go so fast that you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a more normal grip, you have it like, so right away, I have to do something about that.
Let's see this.
I have to do something about this if I'm in a reverse grip, or frankly, even if I'm in a forward grip, I have to do something about it. Doing something about it from here means I have to go like this, or like, try to get this up here close. But every motion I have to do involves me moving my hand out.
And I just can do
And
that.
he can deceive, he can do all kinds of stuff.
Even when I gave him the benefit of the doubt that maybe I wasn't as good of a fencer and I didn't know how to deceive, just thrusting forward was usually enough to counter this. Or even if he managed to block it and move it to the side, all I had to do was come back around. And I could usually get there before he was able to get back. Did you feel like when you were doing this, there was a difference between the katana and the short sword in reverse grip? Was one easier, one harder?
No.
Both about the same?
I mean, I guess in the moments where I felt like trying to get some kind of cut by flinging this out,
Yeah.
maybe this was a little bit less crappy than a shorter blade.
Because you had some distance.
But I still lose reach by being like this. Watch, this is about as far as I can get this out.
Yeah.
Now, if I just go like this, I just gained.
Yeah.
And I did not choke back on the grip.
No.
I can reach his neck now. Whereas if I'm like this,
Can't reach me at all.
I have to lean.
Lean in. You
and
lose
it
so much
hurts too.
reach, you hurt your wrist. It's just, and then on the flip side of that, when we switched to forward grip and we were aggressive, meaning that we prioritized attacking over any sort of defense.
Trying not to wait.
Yeah, trying not to wait, trying to rush in, trying not to bait your opponent, not listening, just going. How did you feel?
With reverse grip?
With forward grip.
With forward grip, I felt less bad than with reverse grip, but I still felt like I was just not being very careful with my life, so to speak, if it were a real fight.
I feel like being hyper aggressive is something you can only get away with in choreography or in a sport. Because in a sport, the consequences of being really aggressive are you get whacked and it hurts a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were able to do that. And in choreography, I can make anything happen as long as I'm the director and I want it to happen that way.
Yeah.
But if we were taking these to be, like we usually do, we respect that this is a weapon, it's not a point system, we're trying to get a hit and get away without getting hurt. It felt so vulnerable to rush in. I found myself actually defaulting back to my balanced fencing style, which was against what I was trying to experiment against because it was just so ingrained in me to listen and wait and be a cautious fencer.
The only time I felt even remotely good on the aggressive end was when I had one of these in forward grip. I don't remember which one, but I just kind of I was smartly
Yeah.
aggressive. I was just kind of beating and trying to hit repeatedly, and that kind of worked a little bit.
So so essentially you were using, you were being aggressive on my blade, but not rushing towards me.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And so you were being cautiously aggressive.
Yeah. Like
now, when we say aggressive versus balanced, we're not talking about just waiting there in defensive positions. We're talking about using a mix of both aggressive and defensive tactics.
More reserved fencing.
Yeah,
I can start with actions to get the motions going. Like I can start with this, see what he does.
I can even start by making a full attack. I can like come in here, feint, and then go somewhere else. There's all sorts of things I can do. But what I'm doing every time is I am always responding to my opponent as opposed to enforcing my will on my opponent as opposed to responding to my opponent, right? So when I think aggressive, I think that I'm not listening to what you're doing, I'm just gonna get you.
Well,
and when I'm thinking balance, I'm thinking, I'm gonna see what you're gonna do.
I know that some people might be thinking like, oh, if a master is very aggressive against someone who's unskilled, blah, blah, blah. But why toy, even if you really think you know the person is unskilled, why toy with, why anyway?
At the beginning of this experiment, we kind of put a premise forward, which was that I am a more athletic person. I am not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest, I am on the more athletic end of the spectrum when it comes to fencers.
Yes.
So
I'm not that athletic.
But even I'm not saying that you're pretty athletic.
Well,
but I'm not going out there just throwing myself at people, because with sword combat, all it takes is one missed parry, one thing happening, and that is the end. Granted, we're in protective gear, it's not going to kill us, but if we were actually fighting, I would not be taking chances like that. Even a master swordsman coming up against an opponent who does something weird that you weren't expecting, maybe they do something where they do something you wouldn't expect because it leaves them totally open, and they get something. If I'm listening to you do something and I see you do a weird wacky move that leaves you totally open, I'll be able to block that attack and get a point. But if I'm just doing my own thing and not listening to you, you do something unexpected and now I'm dead too, right? Yeah. So we're always listening, we're always watching our opponent, we're not just trying to do our own thing. You've got to respond. Yeah. So kind of a double finding on this one. First of all, reverse grip as an aggressive style, so far it does not work. Granted, we're going to revisit this. But second of all, that aggressive fencing or fighting in general, when you are doing aggression and not listening, doesn't seem to be very effective. It seems to get you hurt a lot more than it does, get your stuff, get points, or get the touch, or get the win, whatever it is. Yeah. Yeah. Anything to add?
No.
All right, that's it. Reverse grip, week 4, aggressives. Tune in next time for whatever it is we're doing next.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this or any of our other content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support allows us to keep creating shorts, fencing videos, and our major projects. When you support the team on Patreon, you get access to behind-the-scenes content, discounts on merch, opportunities to game the crew, and so much more. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the fun stuff StarLGHT Arts is doing. You can even ring the bell if you really feel like it. You can also join the community Discord and chat with the crew and other cool people with similar interests. And if you don't agree with something that I've said in one of these videos, you can always fill out the duel request form and challenge me to a duel so you can prove your point. You can find our Patreon and Discord link in the description. Additional links are in our bio. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video.